Yo, hey guys, today we have the follow-up video for Paths 2 and 4 for this guide. So for Path 2, this is the team I went with: Mags, Strife, Cable, Torch, and Doom. And yeah, I would actually just stick with this team. It's one of the cheapest runs I've seen for Path 2, and I did not play very well, so definitely a very solid team for Path 2. So, first off, we have this Starcom with Mags. I used Revive because I wasn't going to keep restarting and wasting time. But, yeah. One Revive used for me, it can definitely be a solo, of course. Luke Cage. One thing to note here that I didn't mention in the Path 3 video, but I probably should have. You can just restart till you get a good ramp run. Since Starcock is soloable, you can just keep going in and out if you really want to be efficient with your revives. And since you're not using Horseman, you don't have to revive to get the Strife ramp going, and you can just keep restarting until you get a good ramp run. Since Starhawk is soloable. Dorm, Strife, again, this is one of the easier solos as far as this goes. Now, I used Torch against Mephi. I should not have done this. I should have used Strife to save the Nova Flame from Iron Man Infinity or Loki. It is a really easy Strife solo. Not sure why I didn't, but yeah. And then CMM, I used Doom. It's a really easy fight, of course. Ghost with Mags, one revive. It's a very simple solo. And then Torch, you're gonna have Nova Flame here, so it should be a pretty easy solo for you. You shouldn't even have to hit conserve too much. And yeah. So I'd definitely go Torch over Mags. You can use no Nova Flame and save the Nova Flame for Loki, because Loki is a little bit harder to solo in my opinion. But Iron Man Infinity War definitely has a higher likelihood of going really poorly, so I think I'd just go with safety and go for the Nova Flame on Iron Man Infinity War. Then Joe fixed it with Strife. Just a little bit of RNG on his buffs. If he procs Power Gain and Power Flood a lot, it's going to be annoying. If not, it's going to be a pretty simple one revive fight. This Mordom, you're not going to have Horsemen like on the other pass, so there will be a little bit of an AI factor here. But one or two revives should be safe enough. And if Strife is not going well, you do have Doom, who doesn't really have to worry about the AI, and you can do this safely in one revive. With Doom, he does have to worry about evade, but if AI is not going well for you, you can go ahead and switch to Doom. Deadpool with Torch, very easy solo, with Despair, of course. Then Korg with Strife, just focus on mostly doing mediums and heavies here. You do have to hit conserve a little bit since you're not going to have Horsemen, but with mostly mediums and heavies, you should be good. And trying to do light intercepts while he has the shield up will also treat you nicely. The Abyssal skill ability is bugged right now, so the skill ability isn't actually functioning at all. So your attacks will all do full damage. They won't have the AR at all. Then Taskmaster with Strife. You can definitely solo this if you are heavy countering. I didn't really have the patience to heavy counter, so I ended up doing mostly medium, and I still came pretty close to a solo. So yeah, a pretty easy fight. The node definitely helps you here. Modok with Mags, just rush to your L2, get that armor break up, keep the armor break up, and make sure you have some healing just because of the power sting damage you're going to take in this fight. And then Howard the Duck with Mags, you can solo this if you get a regen that you can reverse. I didn't get a solo on any of my Howard the Duck runs, but yeah, fairly simple, one revive fight, worst case scenario, Hype with Doom, one or two revives, again, just depends. If you get evaded, you can probably go to two revives, if not, you'll probably be one revive, same with Champion. Then Green Goblin. This is just the worst fight in Abyss. I absolutely hate it. If you get poor AI, and he decides to just not let you refresh your armor break, you're going to be doing barely any damage, and it's going to be such a lengthy fight, and since you do have to heal every run, it's such a pain in the ass. Easily the worst fight in Abyss, and it's just so annoying. I would rather do Collector than do this fight. Make sure you have a lot of potions stashed for this green goblin fight. You will need them. And I would definitely recommend turning on suicides and deep wounds for this fight. And then Sinister with Torch. This fight is pretty simple. You don't even have to hit conserve really. Just get as many incinerates on Sinister as possible to get them reversed back to you. And the smolder buildup will be nice and easy. P99 with Max. I played it pretty poorly. 4 revives. It can definitely be done in 2 or 3 revives. Pretty simply. Just make sure you're healing. Again, the main issue here is the block damage on all of his specials. Loki with Torch. You have to hit conserve quite a lot to get a solo here, but it is possible to get a solo without the Noble Flame. A worst case scenario is a 1 revive fight, and it's not too bad. I know, Aegon with Strife. Pretty simple solo. I didn't get the solo here, just choked it the last little bit, but you can definitely get a solo here. Just parry Abby and throw those special twos. Invisible Woman with Strife. The main thing you want to focus on here is when you get out of her shield, you want to just go super aggressive, not focus on hit conserving or anything, and just play really aggressive when her shield is down. And just pay attention to the power sting timer so you don't get stunned. And that's the main thing that will really help you here. And then Cole with a really easy fight. And then finally, Collector. This will be the hardest Collector because you don't have Horseman or Paco synergy for this Collector. So I would recommend saving Path 2 for last. It is the hardest, and you're going to have the hardest time on Collector. So, I would definitely recommend saving this for last, just so you have the most practice on Collector as possible, and that'll help you nicely. I did this as, I believe, my 3rd run, and I definitely wish I saved it for later. So I could have had more practice on Collector, because I definitely could have cut down this revive count a little bit. And yeah, I did really poorly on these 2 fights. So, a 40 revive round, pretty reasonable to get 40 revives here. Did not play particularly well, so, if you're going for this run, I think anywhere from saving 50 to 60 revives should be safe enough for you, provided you have this team at 6-star or 3 and everything. And for Path 4, this one's a little bit more convoluted because you do have to ramp Paco back up after this Luke Cage fight. Well, you don't necessarily have to. And it's not exactly revive efficient to ramp Paco back up, but if you don't ramp Paco back up, this Ghost Rider fight will just be extremely time consuming. Probably more efficient to not ramp him back up, but it will just be extremely time consuming if you don't ramp him back up. So yeah, first off, LC with Strife, 1+1 to Horsey, and you can restart again until you're at a good ramp. And Darkhawk, we've talked about this a billion times, Killmonger with Strife, 1 revive, pretty simple fight, just parry heavy, and again, make sure you don't throw your L2 while he has reverb up, because those kicks are contact kicks, and, they will get the damage reverted back to you. And then go up with Cable. I used 2 revives here with Cable. It's definitely possible to do the fight in 1 revive with Cable, and then I used a revive to ramp Paco back up when Golk had 1% health left. Then on this Yellow Jacket, I got a 45% with Mags, then 50% with Strife, and then using Paco, I just finished off the last 5% for another charge to further that ramp up. Then Mordom, Strife was fairly simple solo. Oh yeah, and the difference between Mags and Strife here, Mags is just undeniably better for this fight. I just didn't really have the patience for this fight, and Strife is a pretty quick option here, and he's not much worse than Mags. He's definitely worse, but not by enough that it's going to be a huge deal whichever way you go. Then Mephi, Paco, 1 revive, because it was an R2 Paco I used. If you have an R3 Paco, this is definitely going to be a solo. GR with Paco, this was 2 revives. Again, if you have an R3 Paco, this can go down to 1 revive. Maybe even 0 revives, but I'm not exactly sure if that's possible, just due to his bleed immunity. Cord with Strife, 0 revives here, pretty simple fight, really. as we've talked about again. And then Hood with Warlock. I had a R2 Warlock. I played pretty decently, but with an R3 Warlock, you're going to get that health boost, which will be really nice for this fight, and you're going to get that attack boost, of course, and all the extra hits. And the main thing I want to mention here is just saving those L3s for when the AI is being really annoying, and that'll let you power drain him, because he really doesn't like to throw special ones. But Warlock is really nice for this because he can just power drain. And that fixes a lot of the AI problems here, but it is still a really, really slow fight. Warlock with Max, again, armor break, rush that L2 to get that armor break up, just keep it up. And keep throwing those L3s for damage here, keeping the armor break up, and you'll be good. MS with Strife, a really simple fight. There's not much to keep track of. You're going to get constant willpower healing from the bleeds because of Horseman. And the Unstoppable doesn't matter because you're Strife. And yeah, you do have to hit conserve a good bit to get the solo, but not an outrageous amount or anything. And then Dark Hawk with Max, I use one to drive here. You can solo. You're going to have a lot of practice from all the other Dark Hawks and Abyss at this point, so you know what to do here. Then Red Skull with Max and Strife. I got off 40% with Max. Wait, no. I got off 50% with Max. I was thinking about a different run. 50% with Max here. Definitely possible to do it in one revive with Mags. And then I got off 30% with Strife, because I just wanted to test Strife for this fight, and I had team revives. And then I finished the rest of the fight with Mags. Mags and Strife are both perfectly acceptable for this fight. Again, Strife is quicker, but Mags is just definitely better. Mags can do it in one revive, so, Bishop with Warlock. I messed up here, and I didn't watch a video before I first went into this fight. It's a pretty easy solo. But I didn't know the strategy at first, so I messed this up. And, Strife with Paco. I would not use, Strife here, just Apocalypse. An R3 Paco can definitely do this fight in one revive, and yeah, it's really not a difficult fight with Paco. You just turn off precision, and Paco will barely ever crit. I mean, like, barely ever crit. And yeah, the concussion helps keep control of his phases. At an R2 Paco, it's probably going to be 2 revives. With an R3 Paco, it's probably going to be 1 revive, and it's a very reliable thing because you're barely ever critting. Massa was trying to just turn on suicides and play this fight how you would normally, as with anyone else. Just a normal Massa fight, and Strife does decent damage. For some reason, suicides scale extremely well on this fight. Normally they scale horribly with Strife. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but definitely turn on suicides. Then OR with Strife, pretty simple solo, of course. And the hype with Strife, I use 5 revives, but really this fight just depends entirely on your AI. I remember watching Legacy's Abyss stream, and he also got pretty screwed on this fight because of AI with Strife. I know Suida has soloed it though, so it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag. Fights can be anywhere from like 0 to 8 if the AI gets really bad. And then Killmonger with Strife again. And Karnak with Cable, just depends on evade, and then another Collector Strife. And that's going to be all for this Abyss series. I hope this helps you guys run this fast, and that'll be all.